Yokoso, my manga society. So today we're actually back with a quick thoughts review type thing on the entirety of Orange. So in one of my more recent manga hauls, I showed that I got the box set. So these are all 7 volumes from that box set, and both Goblin and I read the entire series. So we were just gonna do a video on some of our thoughts on the series.
Everyone go read it. It's so good, even if you don't read a lot of shoujo.
Yeah, it has like this aspect to it that, you know, not all shoujos have. So it's like, adds something interesting and makes it more emotional. We will be talking about some of the things that happen in the manga. So if you want spoiler free, sorry. We'll be talking about like what happens, so.
I think even if you do know the premise, like I went into it blind and it was really good, but it's still good even if you know like what happens, because you still feel the emotions as you're reading it.
For sure.
But quick synopsis, so Naho is the protagonist and she's a 16-year-old high school student. And one day she gets a letter from herself 20 years in the future, 10 years in the future. And it says to please, there's gonna be a transfer student that comes into your class. His name is Kakeru, there he is. And please become friends with him. And she only reads the first part of the letter, but it goes through.
That was her first mistake.
No, literally. But it's a really long letter and it goes through like several important days throughout that year of high school. Mm-hmm. And it gives her like advice on what to do that day in order to try to change the events that are gonna happen.
She has a lot of regrets, let's just say that. That regret was having him come along on the first walk home from school. Obviously, no one would really think that's a big deal.
You think that's a good thing?
Do you think it's like, okay, this letter's obviously got to be fake. Like, who actually is gonna believe this?
Right, you wouldn't think
it's just like a joke, prank. You just got pranked. Where's the camera? Ashton Kutcher.
Wow, a throwback, huh?
So basically, yeah, he comes on the walk home anyways and doesn't show up for school the next couple weeks, I think. And then you learn that his mom died. So you learn that she ended her life. Because
he was supposed to go to a doctor's appointment with her. Well, I mean, that's not the only reason. She was depressed.
And so throughout the story, he kind of like blames himself for it.
Right.
Which I get like why, but like that's also not a burden you should even like put on yourself. Like that's literally not your fault still.
But it doesn't feel that way to him.
Right, no, obviously.
Right.
He kind of like learns that later though.
In the timeline, in this timeline, or in this parallel world, it's...
In the future.
Yeah, as you read it, it's not as complicated. When you're explaining it, it sounds complicated, but it's not.
It's not.
But in this world, Kakeru's mom had ended her life, and that was like really hard for him to deal with, but his friends didn't know that had even happened and that he was dealing with all of this.
Right.
And so Kakeru dies in an accident in this world, but then they kind of figure out later that he was actually trying to end his own life too.
Right.
So they're trying to prevent...
Like the whole point of the letters is to prevent all that from happening.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they couldn't prevent like his mom's death in this first one, but they're still thinking they could save their friends.
Yeah.
Like if they all work together.
Right.
So I like that it's not like they're going back in time to change the events, because like making that decision to end your life is like, you can't go back. So it like shows how that's like affected everyone's life and how much they miss him.
Yeah.
There is a romance aspect to it because Kakeru and Naho like each other.
Yeah.
But it's not just about the romance. I like how it talks about how Naho is trying to get closer to Kakeru because she wants to save him. And that's like really, it's helping him through it, but it's almost like, I mean, they're all teenagers. Like, just being in a relationship isn't gonna like solve what happened. And I like how the book actually deals with that.
Right.
It's not just the one instance of you feeling depressed and like ending it all. It's like you carry that, like what happened with your mom, you'll carry that through the rest of your life. And then it's like kind of just like dealing with that.
Yeah, you just kind of have to like learn how to cope with it. But also it's like
right.
The reason he like had ended his life in the first timeline is because like even after like the whole thing with his mom, like everything else felt like he was just like getting in the way and like everything was like his fault. So like no one knew anything and he was trying to go through it alone, which is probably like one of the worst things you could do in that situation. And I actually liked how this story brought up different ways that you're supposed to like treat someone that's wanting to end their life. Like I've personally gone through like a little bit of training, and like some of the things they do, like straight up asking him if he like wants to end his life is like exactly what you should do. You're supposed to be like extremely blunt with the person. You're supposed to like stay with the person a lot. You're supposed to make sure they're like, you know, just feeling like accepted. And yeah, I just was actually like really impressed with how this mangaka wrote this manga, honestly.
They're not like tiptoeing. You can't tiptoe around this like life or death
No, you
issue.
have to be so blunt with it. You have to be like on it. You can't be passive.
Yeah, that's what I appreciated. They're like, I think it's hard to write a romance where one of the characters is like on the brink of death.
Right.
And to treat that as like a serious issue.
Right.
And so like I appreciate, this person is so talented because it's like, it doesn't feel like melodramatic in the sense that, you know, when you read something that's like really sad and you can feel that the author is like pulling at your heartstrings, but it feels like ham-fisted a little bit. It doesn't even feel like that. And I cried a lot reading this. But it doesn't feel like the author is pushing it in your face like, look how sad this person feels. Like, it just feels like a natural reaction to the events that have happened.
And honestly, a lot of the time, like, they don't even tell you how he's feeling.
Yeah, because he's like covering it up a lot.
Yeah. It's not till the end do you get his point of view in all of this. But throughout the story, you feel like how sad and depressed he actually is, even without him like telling you.
Yeah, show not tell. It's
right.
They do a good job with that. And then another thing I found interesting about this is that this plot of saving Kakeru, so it's a 7-volume series, but the main plot actually ends in volume 5. Where they all tell him like, hey, we got these letters from the future, please live on.
Right.
And then I mean, I really like that ending, but I was like, well, what could happen in volume 6 and 7? And volume 6 and 7 really do add to the story. So these are called, this one is called Future, the 6th volume, and this one is called To You, Dear One. And it's kind of cool because even though this like plot of saving Kakeru is finished, they actually go through like talking about this world of how did they get to the point where, so in this world she marries her other classmate friend and they have a baby together. Like how did that come to be? Because they had always had a crush on each other, Kakeru and Naho.
Right.
So that's like interesting, like how did it get to that point, you know? And then like so his name is Suwa, her other friend, like does he feel guilty because it's almost like he feels like he stole her?
Right.
Because Naho is really depressed after the events with Kakeru because Kakeru's not alive in this world.
Yeah.
And so it kind of talks about, like, it treats that seriously too. Like, she's not ready to jump into this relationship with him, with Suwa. Well, it's kind of like a love triangle in a way because he had always liked her.
He did.
But when he gets that letter from the future, he's like, okay, this isn't really like about me at this point.
Right.
But then it also like focuses on his storyline later, so it's really cool.
It's cool.
So I would recommend this if you like stuff like Erased, but I personally think this handled it way better than Erased, just due to the fact that you can't change. They couldn't change what originally happened in like the other worlds.
Right.
It's just showing you like a what if scenario.
And I really like how you brought up earlier, it's like, it's almost like a metaphor for like ending your life is the end, like there's no bringing that back. But you could always save someone else's life after that, I guess.
Right. And the friendship too. It's not just about the romance.
Right.
It's the whole friend group is helping them, helping him. Saving someone's life is like, it's like a good noble thing to do, but it's not even just about like it's the right thing to do. Like it is about that, yes, but Kakeru was actually like a really, really good friend to them.
Right.
And they really miss him as a person too. So it's not like, look at us group of friends, like we're gonna do this nice thing. It's like, no, they miss Kakeru. Like they loved Kakeru.
Right.
So I like that he's not just the character with depression.
Right.
Because I think that's what like some series, like I don't like how they deal with like portrayals of depression. Like he had good qualities about him and it wasn't just that he was this depressed person. I think that's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah. For sure.
I mean, I cried a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, if you haven't tried a lot of shoujos, or like a lot of dramas, but you're looking for something good, like maybe you want to broaden your horizons a little bit, this is a really, really good, 7 volumes goes by. Highly recommend.
Highly recommend.
Read this with your girlfriend or your significant other. I feel like it's a good couples series.
Right.
If you want to get your girlfriend into manga, this is great. Or your partner into manga. I feel like this would be a really good series.
For sure. That's it for, I think, this video. If you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe. What did you think about this series? Leave a comment down below. I know it's a lot of people's favorites, actually.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, a lot of people like it.
It's up there for me. It's up there.
It's good. So, again, if you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And as always, this
This
world is cruel, but at least we have manga.